Donald Trump was in Memphis today. Of course, he's hit the National Guard there. And so he decided to bring his trifling behind to Tennessee. You got a Republican governor there. You got Republicans who love what's going on there. And so, of course, they're talking about issues of crime and everything else. And so he, of course, was praising the city's safe task force, saying the city is close to crime-free status. That's a lie. Now, he, of course, ordered the Memphis Safe Task Force into action last year to address what he calls violent crime. He joined Tennessee political leaders and a handful of his administration at a roundtable to highlight the task force achievements nearly 6 months after the National Guard arrived in the city. According to the White House, the operations have resulted in 7,240 arrests, the seizure of 1,188 firearms. Charges from those arrests include 44 homicide cases, 798 controlled substance offenses, 93 sex offenses, 203 juveniles detained, and 44 known gang members taken into custody. City data shows overall crime in Memphis is down 43% from last year. According to the Memphis Safer Communities dashboard, downtown crime has fallen more than 46%. ICE Director Todd Lyons said more than 600 migrants convicted of violent crimes were arrested as part of the task force. Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson was among those at the No Trump, No ICE, No Unsafe Task Force rally through the streets of Memphis. Protesters say they want to send a message to Trump, the state and local leaders who were complicit in allowing the unsafe task force to terrorize the community for the past 6 months. Pastor Keith Caldwell is president of the Memphis Interfaith Coalition for Action and Hope. He says the Memphis Safe Task Force has hurt thousands and is calling again for the end of the occupation. He joins us now. Pastor, glad to have you here. So when you hear these numbers, when you hear Trump, Tennessee, and city leaders tout how crime is down, what do you see? What do you feel? Do residents are residents saying the exact same thing?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Roland. No, what crime was already going down before the unsafe task force came. And what we understand is this was never about safety or crime for President Trump. This was about taking control of blue cities and particularly majority black cities. And this is a prelude to really tyranny. We are a test city about how he can put his foot on the neck of a majority black city. That's what is really happening. And we also know he's here to divert attention away from the illegal war with Iran that he's waging. Gas has gone up $1 in the past 2 weeks, and we're in a war that we see no way out of. So he goes back to these tropes of immigrants and someone is coming to take something from you and the fears. And what we say is immigrants are not our enemies. They are our neighbors. And we know folks are trying to get, documentation, but no human being is illegal. So none of that is what we're talking about.
So when you hear that this action, so-called brought crime down, what do you say? Because when I look at what has happened in Baltimore, when I look at what's happened in Chicago, in Cleveland, it wasn't just about law enforcement that caused crime to go down. It was a multi-pronged strategy that caused crime to significantly drop in those other cities.
Yeah. So we have a poverty problem, and we know that there's a direct correlation when there's a drop in poverty, that there's a drop in crime. And our mayor was actually working to help get crime to come down to begin with. And we can't police this problem away. This isn't about over-policing. This is about having affordable housing. This is about having reliable transportation for people can get to work and to get to school. This is about not racially profiling folks. I mean, there's so many layers that we've been working on. This is about having our schools fully funded. So if they want to spend this kind of money, it could be to help our infrastructure and not over-police us. And so folks are just not coming out. That's another reason. People are terrorized. There are immigrant folks who haven't gone to work. They won't send their children to school, so children aren't getting their education. This has gone on for 179 days, and we just want it to stop.
Well, it is a perfect example. So when I think about this, when we talk about crime, and anybody who understands that, they knows what the real deal is. As I sit here and look at this video, this "Make America Safe Again" Was the mayor on this panel? I'm looking at. I see a couple of African Americans who were on here. Looks like he was. And the thing here. Here's my question. Okay, so he comes here. Did Memphis city officials say to Trump, "Hey, this is what we need to end crime"? And I'm sitting here watching. Guys, y'all should pull this White House video up in the control room. They got these boxes on the desk, DEA evidence. They've got guns, all this stuff on the stage. But did the city officials say, "Hey, this is how much we need for housing. This is what we need to do with food insecurity. This is what we need for education"? I mean, so did any of that happen at today's at today's so-called "Make America Safe Again" session?
So we were having our own protest rally at the same time, and I just want to be careful. Like our Mayor Paul Young, has really trying to appease the president and our governor, which are both Republican and MAGA. And what we are trying to tell our mayor is, you cannot.
Oh, no, I get it. I get it. Yeah, but here's my whole deal though. And listen, I've been trying to get the mayor to come on this show more than 2 years, and he won't come on. I don't know why. Yeah. And I would love to ask him. And here's my whole deal. If the governor's going to be there and the occupant of the Oval Office is going to be there, that's the best time to say, "Hey, here's my $500 million proposal that I would love for you to fund." To me, so if you're going to come to my city and tout what's going on, my deal is put the agenda on the table and say, "Hey, this also can cause crime to go down. And so, are you going to fund this?" To me, that's what should happen. And I'm just curious if the mayor did that.
I haven't seen him do it. And our message to our mayor is, you do not negotiate with a bully. The more you allow him to do, the worse he's going to get. And that's what he's done. He's just gotten progressively worse. So we can just withdraw consent. I would say, to say that this is an illegal occupation and I would stand up in nonviolent, you would have to arrest me before I would betray the trust of the folks who elected me. But our mayor has chosen another route. And yeah.
Well, I think, again, I think what's important is for the black mayors, for Democratic mayors, if Donald Trump wants to come there and he wants to create this whole photo op and he wants folks sitting next to him and around him praising him, then this is where I believe and I believe that these mayors should be challenging him and challenging the governor to say, "Hey, these are the resources that we need." And look, I get it. You're a black mayor in a blue city in a red state, and you've got to work with state leaders. But here's my whole deal: you're not going to use me as some political pawn or as some background background dancer as you sitting here presenting this. My deal is I went to my people, went to the residents. This is what we need economically, and say deliver. Say, Trump, if you abandon your word, then you should deliver these resources that we need. That's going to have an impact on crime beyond policing.
Right. And what we're saying is, we're giving you the cover for the political will to say, my people will not do this. So I'm just trying to negotiate being in support of a black mayor of a majority black city who is not really standing up to the mayor and or to the governor and to the president as we think that he should.
Well, listen, my staff has reached out. We're going to keep reaching out. Mayor Paul Young is welcome to come on this show. I have black mayors from all around the country that come on this show. And so I don't know why he's afraid to come on here. I don't dislike him. I'm not mad at him. But I do have some questions that I believe that's critically important, because here's my whole deal. I mean, this is March 23rd. In a couple of weeks, you're going to have this annual commemoration of the assassination of Dr. King on April 4th that took place in Memphis at the Lorraine Motel. And my deal is, I'm sick and tired of having the same commemorations. And so the thing I want to know is, for my audience, is, all right, Mayor, what is the Black economic plan? How are you challenging corporate America? And he knows very well that Juneteenth speech I gave last year that went viral, that had a lot of folks in Memphis talking about it. And the thing is, he needs to be coming talk to Black media, to your point, giving cover. And so if we're covering these things, then people are also aware of what's going on. That's what's needed. So he's more than welcome to come here. But running from us ain't the answer.
That's right. Roland, I saw where you covered the death of Reverend Jim Lawson in June of 2024, a civil rights pioneer who invited Dr. King to Memphis in 1968, who pastored the church that I currently pastor, Centenary United Methodist Church. And we always have said that we live and die by public policy. So even with Moses and Yahweh, God telling Moses, go tell Pharaoh, right, to let my people go, because if you don't change the public policy, you don't change anything. And we want to, we're developing a nonviolent, really social revolution in Memphis now. We've got economically poor whites, Latinx, Black folks coming together. Today we had a huge group that was completely nonviolent that protested, and we're saying we've got your back, but you've got to say to the president, you've got to go tell Pharaoh.
Absolutely. So keep us abreast of future actions y'all have. Let me know if y'all have anything happening on April 4th, because again, I'm not interested in just hearing a ringing of a bell and commemorating. No, my deal is Black people in Memphis, Black leaders in Memphis, political leaders, corporate leaders. I don't want to see the news releases and the tweets on April 4th. I want folks speaking to his agenda, not just remembering that he died in the city and why in fighting for sanitation workers. Folk today should be carrying forth the agenda of Dr. King, the agenda of Reverend Lawson, the agenda of Bill Lucy. That's what we should be doing in 2026.
Yes. And I invite you to come to Memphis on April 4th, April 5th. We're having an event to speak to that, because that's precisely what we're doing. We're going to be working with Claiborne Temple. What was the night? And so just come. You have a standing invitation. I'd love to talk more with you about it.
All right. Sounds great. Pat, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, bro.
I'm going to go back to my panel here. The point here for me, Avis, is don't let this man just use you as a backup dancer. No, this is where it should be, okay, you want to end crime? You want to do something with crime? Fine. Here's our agenda. This right here is what we actually want to get done. This is what we want to achieve. And these are the resources that we need. Because the reality is, if you look at other cities, crime does not go down solely because of cops. It does not. Crime goes down because you are addressing economics, you are addressing food insecurity, you are addressing housing, you are addressing a multitude of issues. It is not a singular issue of law enforcement.
You're exactly right. I mean, there are so much studies. There are so many studies that have shown that over and over again, and just real life examples of many cities across this nation right now are experiencing historic lows in their crime rates because their local government gets that. And they've been investing in a lot of these other programs that have, I would argue, kind of attached what I would call like the social determinants of crime, kind of all those different things that you talked about and more. And so you're exactly right. It's a political rookie move. I mean, I don't really know much about this mayor, but why the hell would you let someone use you essentially as a piece of furniture when you have the opportunity, as you mentioned, to advocate for your constituents? Because honestly, those various different programs that we have hard statistical evidence which shows that they lead to crime reductions are not free. And at a time in which we spent $12 billion in 7 days in a war that should not have happened in the first damn place, you cannot tell me there is not money there to provide these programs that people need. You know, that is really what your main agenda should be. He can say yes, he can say no, but your agenda as the leader of that community is to at least put that proposition on the table for him to consider and for action to move forward in that direction.
And Thelma, look, I understand. I get it. You're in a red state. You're dealing with Trump. I get the dancing you have to do. I get how delicate you have to do. But there's a way to do it. And I'm sorry. Put it on the table. You've got to confront this reality of resources. You're not going to see crime solely happen because of law enforcement.
Listen, the mayor of Memphis has no excuse being in a red state. Our ancestors died in a red state. Civil rights leaders died in a red state, speaking up and against what we are experiencing at this very moment. One of the things that is very clear to me is there's a disconnect with this mayor and the leaders around that city, because when you look at the dynamic of crime and what parts go into it, you got to look at the DA, the judges, the city council, and all these individuals that have influence in that community that helps with providing resources and how we can bring that crime down. So it is a very, you have to have a cohesive group of individuals, but when you have an individual that is falling on the sword of a dictator, a demonic, wasteful president, it calls into question, do you only show up to your community when you need a vote, or are you showing up when we need the resources so that we can keep our people out of a system that was designed to keep us in a system even when we are innocent? Because now we got to put you on that side and say, no, you don't belong here. We need to get someone that belongs in this seat, that is going to show up, is going to answer the questions, and is not afraid to be put in a position of where you gotta stand on it. You gotta stand on your word. You asked to be in a public position. So why are you hiding from the people that need to hear from you so that we can know exactly where your heart posture lands?
Well, as I look at this whole thing here, Cameron, and assessing this, really what is required in this moment is political courage. And again, when the people are rocking with you, they're going to stand with you. This is the way you have to challenge these folks is, okay, you say you want this to be successful. Well, this is what we need. This is what is required. And then when you go to the people and say, this is my agenda, the folk going to rock with you. And so when you do that, the pastors say, we with you. The people, the grassroots activists, and on and on and on, that's what has to happen. I am just not interested in Donald Trump coming into places, pimping our people, and then leaving, and he didn't leave a check behind. You want to bring your ass here and talk big, put some money on the table.
Exactly. I'm glad you teed that up, Roland, because Mayor Paul Young, I got a lot of family in Memphis and have been doing some research there. He's trying to play politics, and it seems like he's getting played because he has several major initiatives that require state and federal funding. Most importantly, there are two big stadiums, Liberty Stadium and FedEx Forum, have over a couple $100 million that they're looking for state funding for. And then also the Memphis airport and their revitalization project, which has been like something that's been a core tenet of what he ran on. And they're seeking tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars from the Federal Highway Authority and several other federal agencies. Some of that was granted to them under the Biden administration. And as Trump has been doing, where he's holding up federal funds that were already appropriated to various cities and states, and coming in here, hey, you got to kiss my ass in order before I make sure I cut you, literally.
Yeah, but Cameron, here's my issue. Okay, but Cameron, here's my whole point. Two of those things are a stadium and one is the airport. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about what is the community agenda. Listen, those are, first of all, the airport is a revenue generator, economic generator. I don't give a shit about these stadiums, okay? Because billionaire team owners can pay for their own damn stadiums. My point is, what is your community agenda and what's the number attached? And are you putting that on the table to say, hey, I don't call this thug, Mr. President, But this is where you say, hey, Donald Trump, appreciate you coming to our city. Crime has dropped, things on those lines. We also believe that what can also cause crime to drop is if we fund this initiative, and this is how much it's going to cost, $300, $400, $500, $600 million. You going to put something on it?
Yeah, and I think what you can tell the political inexperience in that he has not run across a Trump before. He probably in his mind, I'm not going to jump in his mind here, but I think what not to do, because Trump is going to continue to go city to city and try to hold them ransom, take credit for the crime going down because he's sending ICE or sending National Guard, and he's like probably behind the scenes, hey, I'm holding back some federal funding if you don't play nice with me. But as we've seen in states in California, like in California, as we've seen in Chicago and other cities where they've been able to be very confrontational or be very direct with the president and say, hey, you're welcome to the city. You're still the president. But we're going to need your commitment on camera, in person, on what you're going to do to be able to say, help with this. But this looks like I said, this looks like here in Trump, this is how Trump's game. He realizes he has so much power and so much funding power over so many of these states that he probably doesn't intend to fund anyway. And that's where I think where people got to realize, hey, we need to stand up to him now, because the more we let Trump get away with this, the more we let him to take credit for things he actually didn't do, we're going to be left holding the bag, and our communities won't get better.